Okay, welcome to tonight's chart focus. As per usual, we'll have a quick look at the XJO first. Actually breached 4700 today, which has been that key level we've been looking for, but couldn't close above it. Interestingly, closed at 46.97, certainly the highest close we've had for a while. Couldn't quite get there. This is the intraday movement here. Bit of a nice downtrend all day. Just couldn't breach that 4700 close. So we'll certainly be looking for a close above 4700 still to confirm this next up leg, if that's in fact where we're heading. Alright, I'm just going to revisit one from Friday's video for a start. MHM looked pretty promising on Friday. We might just pull this down to a 6 month or something. Looked pretty promising on that swing. Mentioned there wasn't an awful lot of volume kicked into it. Gapped up, but just couldn't go on with it. We'll just have a quick look at the intraday. We'll go to a little bit closer. Okay, so as you can see here was Friday's close, Friday's high here at 21. Gapped above that nicely. Pulled back and tested the support from Friday and held, but interestingly couldn't break and kick on slightly later. So for me, once that happened, lightened some up here, and then the stop was a break of the morning's low. So once 117.5 was breached, I would suggest that's a place to get out. We may well find a new entry at some stage, but for me that one's gone for now. Probably worth throwing some fibs over this one just to get an idea of where we might find some support. So we run a fib from the top here down to recent support down here, so the last leg, and look at that, probably could have found a nice little intraday entry. It bounced exactly off the 50 at 112.5 odd, and there was 5 cents or so in that bounce off the 50% fib. So I wasn't looking at that bounce, didn't get it, but certainly if you threw the fibs on that to look for an intraday spot where it may bounce, you would have jagged a nice little scalp out of it. The 38 is pretty much on where there was previous support anyway, around the $1.10, so that would definitely be the first point I'd be looking for to hold. If not, obviously down there, those recent lows around $1, and if that fails, it may well fill that gap after all. So that's a quick revision on MHM. Alright, we'll have a look at a few new charts. Going to have a look at a few rare earths plays. The whole sector is still going pretty crazy. I just won't really dissect these charts, but just have a look at a few of these charts. LYC to new highs today, not a lot of volume. ARU again to 12 monthly highs. PEC, which are the cap raising lately, 12 monthly highs. ALK is another one. All gone to new highs. So I've mentioned several times before, when this happens, I'll try and find some others in the sector that haven't run quite as hard yet. First one I'm going to have a look at is GXY, which we did mention on the video. The swing had started to shape on Friday, and I mentioned that the volume wasn't terribly strong. As you can see, volume kicked in nicely today, and it's tested this 44.5 high, so hit 45, couldn't quite close there, closed at 44, but certainly looks ripe for another run if it can break those highs. 150 from back here in April-May looks like the next target. And I threw some fibs on this afternoon just to have a look at whether we would have picked up this dip down to 120. And I'll just do this for you now. So we'll run it from the previous high there, down to that previous low. And look at that, right on the 50 as well. So, and again, not one I caught directly down there, I don't think, but certainly worth keeping these things in mind. If you have got something that can throw some fibs onto a chart, it can definitely pick up some of these support levels. Right, so that's GXY. Next one I'm going to have a look at is AIW. I think I mentioned this in Twitter a couple of times. Okay, so it ran really hard back on the 30th, opened at 4, went right up to 10.5 on announcing some rare earths news. It's dipped back down to under 6, and now it's basically in a little sideways range, but broken the immediate downtrend today. As you can see, the volume's been decreasing, so not a lot going on there. A small increase in volume today, but I definitely want to see that volume pick up again tomorrow. I've picked up some of these on a break here of 7 and then added again 7.3, 7.4 break, but I'll definitely now be looking for a break of 8.2 and 8.5, so somewhere in this area to possibly add again if that volume kicks on. So that's AIW. Next one we'll have a look at is NAV, which isn't much of a chart to look at. It doesn't seem to move a lot. Might go to a 2-year chart or something like that. We'll go to a 2-year weekly. So definitely been in a sideways range of late. Has been as high a year or so ago as 40 odd cents, so there's definitely some upside. On a weekly you can see that swing starting to shape. You'd want to see a break of 20.5 for a start. We'll go back to a daily, 6 months. So made a higher low, couldn't get back to this previous support, and which was a higher low from this one back here. So a few higher lows starting to kick in now. So obviously we want to see whether we can break this and make a higher high as well. Bit of volume crept in today and yesterday. Again, I'd like to see that volume kick in a bit more, but one that could have some decent upside if that run keeps going. Alright, I'll have a look at a larger cap stock. It hasn't been a lot of the larger cap ones that I've been focusing on too much with all this action in the small cap end. This is Paladin, which I mentioned today. There's a yearly, again pretty much in a sideways range for 12 months or so now, but recently had quite strong, we'll pull this up so you can see it a bit better, had quite strong resistance around the 376, 77, 75 range. Got through that today, closed at 380, so still a bit of resistance here, but the best volume for some time, and this is what's caught my eye with this one. So best volume in a while. Could also argue that we've broken this little trend line here now. That was a fairly nice trend line through there, and we've broken that as well. So hopefully that can kick on again tomorrow, challenge these highs from around the 391 mark, and then next there's a little higher back up here around the $4 break, which has again been probably towards the top end of this range play of late. Okay, so that's Paladin. We'll look at a few little ones that are swing low candidates. So I mentioned the swing so often. This is DYL. There's a 12-month chart. It's definitely broken this trend line through here. A nice little tight range for the last couple of months here, and broke recent resistance of 19.5 today, and really big volume. You can see the volume here, excellent volume on the break. So looking for some follow-up to that. The obvious next level to watch is 23. If 23 can go, well, we'll see where we go from there, but really nice break there. What we'll do here, and I haven't checked these, I have no idea whether they'll be of any relevance, but we'll whack some fibs on that leg. Oh, they're not fibs. Try again. Whack some fibs on this leg here. So 38 was exactly where it bounced to last time, which is interestingly exactly where previous support was. So it makes some sense that support now becomes resistance. And the 50 was also on a level of resistance there. So hopefully we can aim for at least the 50, which brings us up to the 26 odd. The next line was the 62. Again, lines up with some of our previous support. So each of those levels has been significant in one way or the other, and that's up around the 29. So 29, 26, some good targets there to be watching out for if this can kick on. But encouraging volume today. Right, next one we're going to have a look at is GDN. Another little swing low. We've broken this. I'll put some lines on this, I suppose. Definitely broken this trend line there, and up into an uptrend now. Reducing volume on the dip here, which is what we'd like to see, and a little bit of an increase in volume there on this swing today. We'll pull this up, say to a 6 months chart, so we can get a better look at it again. So a bit of volume creeping in. Again, I'd like to see a little more. I'm not in this one yet. It just came up when I scanned some charts after close. 3.9 is the high of today. 4 was res from a couple of days ago, so I'd be prepared to leave it to a 4 now. A break of 4 will probably see me interested in this one. Okay, and the last one I'll show you is LNG. Again, it's not one I'm in as yet, just popped up on the scans. We'll throw a couple of lines on this one as well. Okay, so there's been this downtrend line through there, odd, which looks like we've broken, and broken on a little bit of increased volume, which is good. Got resistance here, which it's pretty close to touching, around the 53 odd mark, and a little bit of a double bottom almost in play there as well. So a few encouraging signs there. Go back to a 12-month chart for a bit. Again, break of the longer term downtrend as well here, and a nice rounding shape starting to shape up here. So a little bit of forward momentum, and we could see this test the 70 cents somewhere in the future. Being a predominantly short-term trader, whether I'd still be in that or not, even if I do take a position, who knows. But for those of you that trade a little longer term, there may be something in that one for you. If you were to buy that on the break, like this close to that 53 resistance, I probably won't enter until a break of 53. I'd probably, for me, I'd keep the stops quite tight on that one, and maybe a break of today's low of 49.5 would see me out. But if you wanted to give it a little bit more time, you could probably run a trend line along the bottom there, this new uptrend, and set your stop somewhere under that uptrend. Alright, that's all I've got to tonight. I'll talk to you tomorrow.